Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, July 7, 2025 after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a time for change call this Wednesday night after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to pull the curtain away on a lot of things that are happening out there, and we're going to share with people the truth and nothing but the truth. Might shock some people, but I'm not talking about it being in a negative vernacular. But there's just a whole lot of stuff that's about 99.999% crap, and unfortunately, people are believing it. We're always looking for something. We want to find the right teacher. But I say that you are the right teacher. The right teacher is where and what you are. Being, place, or thing is not the right teacher. Robert Adams. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, no outside distractions, relaxed into your body, still as a statue, focused on your breath rising and falling, natural rhythm of the breath, rising and falling. Eventually, we're going to it's kind of like a pseudo-separation, where we're going to discover that we literally are a God in these bodies. Okay? Not guessing or not, doubting or wondering or maybe an iffy-biffy, but the real deal. And we're going to do that through meditation. And people ask, well, why do we have to do it through meditation? Because if you're not in meditation, you're usually in the ego mind. And the ego mind, as we know, is insecure. It's never satisfied. And it doesn't believe that it's part of the God. So it seeks out peace. It's constantly seeking peace outside of itself, not within us. So this goes on and on and on for thousands of lifetimes. Each time we enter a body, we inherit the ego mind with the body. The ego mind is an illusion. We don't know that. In fact, a lot of us don't even know what the ego mind is. And that's why this planet is in such turmoil, because the ego mind is completely out of control. And it's grown to become more and more out of control. And this is why so many people feel insecure, not satisfied, always seeking, always wanting, but never really being at peace. Because they're constantly outside of themselves, analyzing, judging, evaluating on a continual basis. They do it with themselves, and then they start doing it with everything around them. But they're not aware that this is the case. And the unawareness is the real stickler on the planet, because when you're unaware, you follow whatever it may be that you believe is the lead off the cliff. Gather all courage and take a jump. Even the dewdrop slipping from a lotus leaf trembles for a moment, tries to hang on a little more, because cannot see the ocean. Once it has fallen from the lotus leaf, it is gone. Yes, and in a way, you will not be, just as a dewdrop dissolves into the ocean. You will be gone, but it is not a loss. You will be oceanic, and all other oceans are limited. The ocean of existence is unlimited. We all of us are connected to each other in a way that how we look at it is much different than how it really is. You poke one, the other feels it. Right? You have something that happens on the planet halfway across the planet, and you don't need the news. You feel something. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're in tune with what it is. You just know that something has caused irritation, upheaval, sadness, fear, frustration. You feel it is what happens. And then sooner or later, the news gets here, gets to where you're at, and you realize that that's why you felt the way you did. There's no other explanation for it. It's that we are one ocean, individuated from the perspective is that we design it so that each of us appear separate. You know, you see Bill down the street, he's separate from you, right? There's a separate life, does separate things, so therefore Bill is separate. And this is the illusion that's been created for all of us by who and what we really are, by the gods that we are. So, and the bottom line is so that we can experience individually, even though we're not individuals. It appears that way in these bodies that we are individuals, but we are not individuals, we are one. So each one of us is a god, and each god is connected, and all the gods and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever, make up the one God. It's like when you look at the human body, and you see the trillions of cells, and you're moving, but they appear separate, right? You see the blood, and the blood appears separate from the body. You see the muscle tissue and the arteries and everything seems separate. They're all different, right? They're all kind of there, but it's all one. All operating. It's like the God is all one. We are all part of the God, and each one of us is a God. So what we do is we experience, each of us, in different ways, what we call life, which is God. And eventually we come full circle to discover on our own volition that we're a God in the body, that we're not the body. The body is temporary. The body allows us to experience material physical life. And while we're in material physical life, we learn to master the ego mind. That's why it's there. And as we master it, we learn from it and master our thoughts. Once we do that, then we become phenomenal manifestors. We can create anything and manifest anything we want because we're not operating from the ego mind, we're operating from the heart mind, which is a totally different ball game. Heart mindedness means is that we already know that whatever it is we desire is already ours. It's a no-brainer. So we send the thought out and then it manifests. Eventually the civilization will be in a position where they'll be able to manifest instantaneously. But you see, it is a step process. Many are impatient, so they try to skip things. Or, the ego mind kicks in and they get arrogant with themselves and believe that they can, circumvent a lot of things that other people go through that they don't need to go through because they're more advanced than the other people, which is ego mind. So we take these steps because we knowingly take these steps, not blindly. So when we take these steps to discover really that we are gods, that we aren't these bodies, that we aren't our belongings, our status in life, what we have, it's all about knowing that you're God. Nothing's ever going to change that, really, ever. And you make up the cosmos, all of us, the planets, the star systems. All of it is made, we create that. It's like if you look up in the sky at night when there's no light pollution, you can see all the stars. And you say, wouldn't it be neat if I saw two stars next to each other? over here where there's like just darkness. You focus on that long enough, believe it or not, and see, but we don't. Our attention span is about 8 seconds, and then we're off to something else. So, but if you were able to focus long enough, those two stars would start forming. It has nothing to do with your size, see, your stature and physical material form, because you're a God, and the God is all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, forever, plugged into the most expansive information library that could ever be. And plugging into that, you have access to all the great masters, all of the teachers throughout the ages, just on this planet, not including all of the other planetary systems. All of us do. But the majority of us, 99.99% of us, don't know how to access it because we don't know ourselves. It's like a quote from Nisargadatta. Let go of the idea that you are not aware of yourself as the ever-present, changeless, inexpressible reality. And what this means, roughly, is that we are the ones responsible for creating the illusory experience that we are disconnected. Everything is needed and perfect in our world. Even the wonderful illusion of separation is needed, so as later we can create an experience of unification. We accept our deepest illusions, hardest feelings, and most challenging pools of separation consciousness that we are swimming in. We can one day relax and float downstream, merging back into the great ocean. We are always connected with one omnipresent self. We are this single God source that is weaving its way through everything and everyone. It's just that the mind gets in the way. And most of us don't know how to get the mind out of the way. It gets in the way and it wants something. It wants to be special. It wants to be loved. It wants to be appreciated and accepted by this world. Most people don't believe this is their heart, and thus unknowingly cling to the known, trying to heal, liberate, or enlighten themselves through holding to certain thoughts and ways of thinking about life. And when the mind becomes narrowed down any one path for too long, it becomes fixated and tight, like a closed book, cannot receive the new insights and abundance it could grow into. The most enlightening truth we can handle is the one that greatly increases our power, wisdom, inner peace, and manifesting ability. As we evolve closer to the exotic universal truth of who and what we really are, this universe bestows greater gifts and more beautiful manifestations for us to accept and enjoy. The tricky part is that many of us tend to hold tight onto ideas of the past and future. What we think we know feels comforting, especially when met with the great ocean of unknowns. The most enlightened and highest experience we humans can tap into is one that cannot be captured by the mind. Yet it reveals itself naturally and spontaneously when the mind is truly at rest and ease. Like the feeling we might get from a spontaneous breeze on a hot summer day. We soften our hearts, quiet our minds, become deeply receptive. We can relax into it and deeply enjoy it. The head alone is not enough. It is too small of a container to take in the outrageous experience of enlightenment. The greatest experiences can only be absorbed with an open heart and soul. And when the mind is quite something inside us, instantly aligns with this infinite spiritual essence that is inside everything and everyone. When we devote our life to quieting the mind and opening our heart to the divine source, we can feel, see, and know our real self. What is our real self? It's that part of you who feels deeply, intimately connected with everyone and everything. It is so vast that it also has room for the experience that we are small, powerless, separated beings stuck in small pools of individuated consciousness, yet it is so much more. The real self is omnipresent, vast as the endless oceans, extremely bright, beautiful, and so powerful that it instantly consumes all the other versions we make up of what reality is. See, we use, well, give or take, maybe 9% of our brain. I know that sounds really why. We have all the rest. We've got 91% that's dormant. We use 9%. Think about that. What would happen if through graduated knowledge that we eventually ended up with 100% use of the brain? What do you think would happen? Well, through heart-mindedness, of course. You would be a super creator. Not only that, you would be aware of your creation. Not only that, you would not be insecure. You would not be hateful. You would not be manipulative. You would not be any of those things. You would be deep eternal love incarnated. And everywhere you walked, you would consecrate the earth, the very earth you walked on, just by walking on it. Your abilities would not be measurable. Not by the current archaic measurements on this planet. And the path to that begins with this meditation. It's how you do it. It's how you connect. It's how you figure out who you are, what reality is, what reality isn't, what is illusion, what is not illusion. There's no other way. Or you could spend the next 1,000 lifetimes maybe figuring it out. It's up to each one of us on the direction. Now, some of us are just waking up. Okay? It's a small warning to the beginner of the spiritual path. It can be quite challenging to just choose to step out of your old self and into this experience of being one with the ocean, because everyone around you won't agree or understand what you're going through. It is learned to lean on society, right? We have learned to lean on society for an understanding, comprehension of who and what we are. Collectively, we humans have spent the past 2,000 plus years attempting to reconnect with this oneness through religion, because we have completely forgotten that we are already permanently connected to the God source. Makes sense. A lot of people have glued themselves to religion. We have spiritual amnesia caused by a societal mind that was buried under the illusion that we are like swine when in truth we are divine. And seeing through this great misunderstanding, we can be liberated from our collective consciousness. We can be free from all suffering. just like how the great masters have done throughout the ages. This collective awakening is part of the greater plan for our planet's spiritual evolution. It's not talked about enough. Now, it's interesting, in the spiritual community, unfortunately, there are those who are still embraced by the ego mind. Maybe some of you have interacted with that. And you go, wait a minute, I thought these people are supposed to be spiritual. Why are they all trying to vie to be better than each other when they already are one? We can be free from all suffering just like how the great masters have done throughout the ages. As long as this belief is separate, it's in separation, is the main way our society operates. As long as this belief in separation is the main way our society operates, we must each rebel against the norm if we are ever to find spiritual freedom. Now that takes courage. First fear, then courage. The belief system that we are not one being, right, is the main reason why there is still war, poverty, and environmental destruction on this planet. There still remains a belief that we are disconnected. This belief is always being projected, emanating from everybody's mind around you. What everyone believes you are, most likely, becomes what you believe is true as well. It's safe to say that every single being you have met in this life has been overly identified with this idea of a separate self, ego, and most likely will fight for upholding the belief in our separation until the very end. It takes a very clear mind, a courageous heart, and a determined soul to break free from the matrix of illusions that this society is casting over our eyes. To be free from societal programming, we must choose first to be free from our ego. For our ego to even exist at all, it must hold firm onto some belief in its separate nature. If it doesn't do this, it will feel very lost, confused, and afraid, and eventually give up. The ego must believe that it is a separate somebody rather than an omnipresent nobody. It's been trained to believe it is a drop of water and not the entire ocean as well. And this individuated approach to life has a great payoff of creating a feeling of power, control, and direction in life. Without the ego, we might believe that all our outcomes and manifestations show up because we are the universe, and the universe is making everything happen. And without the ego, we would only have a feeling of love, abundance, true empowerment, and real inner peace in this life and beyond. And the greatest truth we can find is going to be the one that liberates us from this limited, contracted mind ego. The truth that frees our spirit is the one that brings forth the deepest feeling of joy into the lives of everyone around us. The truth is found from intimately knowing our real self, our permanent, unbounded, infinite spiritual nature, only from exploring what it feels like to be at one with the ocean of life. Can we be free? This exploration is what leads us to find full self-realization, true liberation in the end. Here's a radical experiment. I invite you to relax into this idea and feeling that you are separate from this universe right now. Rest deeply into the feeling that you are not at the core of the God source right now. Start with becoming very curious about this idea. Feel into what it actually means until you make friends with it. The goal would be to let yourself completely melt into the feeling of separation and have zero resistance to it. With a little practice, you may discover what it's like to be connected within your experience of separation. And the most healing, loving, magical, empowering source in this universe is in everything. So it's also in this experience of separation. And the more you can relax into it, the more you open your heart and quiet your mind to find that the experience of deep separation dissolves itself naturally on its own accord. And within the core of separation, we will discover the most profound, powerful, unstoppable, and intimate direct connection to this pure channel of intelligent, conscious energy that breathes our very core. So dive into the deepest root of all your problems, faults, self-criticisms, and personal issues. These are where you feel the most separate and disturbed. Do not wait until it's the right time to do it. Just relax into them every day, whenever and wherever you are. Make it the number one priority of your life to find this loving, divine connection that is already here. Trust that it is already here, even if you cannot find it right away. Act as if you are being held like a newborn baby in the most loving, caring mother's arms by simply resting into this feeling of separation. And you will make amazing progress on your spiritual path in a matter of minutes. You are the Supreme Being. And yet, thinking yourself to be separate from it, you strive to become united with it. What is stranger than this? Ramana Maharishi. When one begins their spiritual path, there is this feeling that who we are is more unreal than real. And what I mean by this is that it can be shocking to discover that what we thought we were our entire lives is not real. We truly have no clue as to who and what we really are. We are that which is beyond what the mind can comprehend. We are like the infinite edges of the most massive movie screen you can imagine, which has no end to the colorful creative possibilities it could contain. Our freedom comes from knowing our possibilities, our undefinable nature. When we realize that we are more like a blank, multi-dimensional creative canvas, and not all the scenes and stories from the grand film. Something inside of us feels very vast and very free. Now, I invite you to sit back and take a good look at your life. Take one evening to investigate all the wonderful, horrific, typical, unusual, and peak states from your life. Notice if they sum up everything about who and what you are. Is there anything more than this? Ask yourself, what is my real self? Who am I without all these experiences? Do I still exist without these memories? And if so, what exactly is that? Our real self is beyond the greatest mystery anyone could explore. We are much more amazing and magical than this separated mind ego. We are bigger than all the life experiences that are projected onto us and into us. We are also much more than the pure witness, awareness, and consciousness. We are the totality of it all. We are that which life gets to play, dance, and sing all of itself through. The separate, limited, suffering self is a comfortable habit, one that can be dropped by simply knowing how to stop identifying with it. The discovery of the real self is a profound spiritual exploration. The realization of who we truly are is a timeless experience that eventually becomes the death of our ego and the beginning of real freedom. Ironically, it is our deepest, innermost battle for freedom, our resistance to total surrender, that perpetuates the ego. And when we stop fighting, we begin clearly seeing. The truth is revealed when there is no more need to push, pull, prove, or fight for anything. When we stop the struggle against what is, the ego's clouded existence drops and something greater enlightens our way. What is that something greater? The God, the pure consciousness, the kingdom of God, the heaven. There's all kinds of labels for it. As long as we continue to pursue this life thinking we are only a separate being, limited in power, love, abundance, and self-expression, we will get attached to goals thinking that they will make us happy. Be very careful not to think that these limited ideas have anything to do with who you are. The concepts of ownership, my life, my body, my thoughts, my stuff, my reality, and my mind are the only thing perpetuating our human experiences of suffering. Drop these ideas and see what is left. Nothing is actually yours, and everything is yours when you realize your real self. There is no more need for the feeling of possession. When you see that we are infinite spiritual beings already intimately connected to everything, why would we need to attain something when we already feel connected with it? Desires only form out of separation. And when we sit and meditate on who we are, looking deep within inside ourselves, eventually the mind will become quiet. And when this occurs, we experience the truth that we are eternal beings filled with a great love, magic, and lightness. By knowing this inside, we naturally start living it. We really do not have to be afraid of letting go and trusting our real self. The one source will move us, guide us, shape our minds to reconnect with the hearts and souls of everyone. Living from this space, we finally reach a sense of peace with everything in our lives. Every day, we wake up and begin practicing being as vast and unlimited as the great infinite universe we are surrounded by. And by playing an active role in this life, living out this realization in the sea of people around you, then something dawns on you that you are truly free. And when you see the world clearly, that everything is an expression of you, the real self, you stop hearing what you don't want to hear. You stop seeing what you don't want to see. And you stop feeling what you don't want to feel. Your mind is only fixated on the brilliant diamond of consciousness that it's found. You realize that this world is your mirror. Everyone is always reflecting back to you who you are. If you see an unhappy being, that being is inside you. When you're truly enlightened, the experience of the divine awakening being begins showing up in everyone in the most interesting ways. You are in an ever-flowing river of gratitude all day long. So become courageous on this path. Take the risk to meditate, quiet your mind all day long. Soon, you'll come to know that what it means to be self-realized. Remember to love yourself, worship yourself, pray to yourself, devote your life to yourself. Find joy in yourself, because God dwells in you as you. Robert Adam. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close soon. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on the natural breath, rising and falling. Sitting quietly and peacefully paves a direct path to the greatest awakening. It is this extremely simple and effortless task that attains such miraculous results. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Tuesday, July 8, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening within you or outside of you. Open your heart, allow the magic to flow in.